There we go. Before we go, I wanted to mention today's shiur, if you don't mind, though, is Lila Nishmas Rivka Rochel Bas Shmuel, who is my mother's mother, my maternal grandmother, whose yahrzeit is tonight. Amen. Amen. Happens to be, we didn't know where she was buried for many years because my mother moved to LA, and she said she was on Long Island somewhere. So believe it or not, I used some connections in New York a few years ago. So it was many, many, many years. And I found out that she's buried in a cemetery on Main Street. In other words, near Chafetz Chaim Yeshiva, right? Not far, Mount Lebanon or something. Yeah, and believe it or not, I went. It was very moving. Like grandmother I never knew. So unfortunately. So it should be a schos for a neshama. So yes, we're up to Gimel. So what we're discussing is davening at certain times. Let's say you're up at night, and there's watches. There's parts of the night. The night is divided up into three parts, and you should try to hit the end of one of those. So again, because that's a special time. Now again, tefillah is always accepted or heard. I shouldn't say accepted, always heard. But these are more auspicious times, as they call it. So, so we talked about that yesterday, and specifically to daven for the Churban Beis Hamikdash, and then we're in Golus, which I talked about on Thursday. So, very interesting. I mean, halacha is interesting. It's just so in Gimel, look what the Mechaber says. Ro'ei l'chol yorei shemaim. It's proper for anyone who has fear of Hashem. Shi'e meitzar v'doeg al churban beis hamikdash. It's a person should be pained and worried about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Again, of course, when we get to 3 weeks, 9 days, and Tisha B'av sign, so we focus on this more. But again, this halach applies every day. And that's what I was talking about on Thursday. We live here in Henderson. It's not so bad. The weather is not so bad, and so sometimes we could lose track. I think that's, as I mentioned Thursday, I think that's why Hashem is reminding us that, we're in Galus. You have to remember we're in Galus.
You remember the Beit Hamikdash, you can't remember, it's 2,000 years.
So
I just remember
that. Well, he's saying, Meitz Haradog, it should bother you. So in other words, but some of the Bali Musar, I forgot which one talks about that. See, I gave a Shabbos Shua Drush a few years ago. Scam likely. Again, not complaining, but you see all these Masholim and Chazal. What is this compared to a king, right? So I mentioned in Drush a couple weeks ago that we don't know what a king is. That's a king. So this Baal Musar, it was either Volby or somebody. Zegatzai said, we're supposed to think about when the Nazis in Maksham threw out the French government. I think it was de Gaulle. So it was a government in exile. The government in exile. So that's what a person should feel like. In other words, that their government is in exile. I don't know if we relate to that either. We don't know what a government in exile means. It's
Maduro is.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Venezuela is in.
Okay, well, I don't know what there are. Yeah, no, but maybe we want to get rid of him, right? We want to get rid of him. So
Because Trump wants the oil.
Well, whatever. Who knows what's going? We don't. There's a guy in my shul. There's a guy in my shul. He's the Space Force, not the Air Force. He's a major in the Space Force. So, and basically, and when I was invited to his promotion, when he went from captain to major, and the colonel said, who came from Colorado, said, I can't tell you what Major Riffain does, but all I can tell you is the fact that there's no incoming missiles where we are is thanks to him. So a lot of times I would talk to him about things, and he wouldn't say anything, because he couldn't. There wasn't a lot to say anything. But he told me a few months ago, he said, whatever you read in the news is either A, not true, or B, 30 days late. In other words, whatever you hear, we don't know what's going on here.
Right.
We really don't know. So, anyways, getting back to the Meitzar and Torah. So, in other words, it should bother us that Hashem is in Golos, right? In other words, we just see the Chil Hashem every single day and stuff that goes on in the world, and it should bother us, right? So, your personal life hopefully is good, right? But you know, again, we can easily lose track, but it should bother us. The Shleim Yirchov Rachmi and Tashuv, right? You know. And again, it's a little harder because, I remember when my parents did a radical thing. They took me there to store for my bar mitzvah. In those days, it was unheard of. But so I remember going up with my father to the Koso and thinking, I'm the first person in how many generations to come here? So it's an amazing thing. But as I mentioned from some Chassidus Rebbe, I forgot which one. I'm so close, but I can't get in. We don't know what having the Beis Hamikdash means and what. Now, if you look in the Mishnah Berurah, again, I don't do all Mishnah Berurah, but look at the Mishnah Berurah Yud. So the Machaber said it's proper for Yarei Shemayim to be pained and bothered about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, that we're in Golos. So look downstairs in the Mishnah Berurah Yud. Look what he says. Awal Torah Tefillah Yeh B'Simcha. This is all talking about, like regular, but when you're davening or you're learning, you have to be happy. Now, again, people have the wrong idea what simcha means. People think simcha means, I'm tambourining and, that's not what simcha means. Simcha, if you look at the Orchat Tzadikim, he has a shara simcha, means that you have bitachon. You're sure. You're not down. Why? Because you have bitachon, right? Sometimes difficult things happen. But true simcha is not jumping up and down and dancing. And, what simcha really is that a person has the innermost strength. I'm okay. So when you daven, you can't go in front of Hashem being dejected. You can't learn Torah being dejected. I think about this in the morning before davening. So I say, tell him I learn Mishnayos. So when I crack open the Mishnayos, look, I get to learn Torah. I get to learn Hashem's Torah, right? That has to bring you simcha. Again, that doesn't mean I'm jumping up and down and, clapping. But, how fortunate. Ashrenu ma tov chalkenu. So Torah and the Tefillah have to be with simcha. Now, again, the next Mishnah, it's a little long, so we're not going to, maybe. Yeah, we'll do it inside. Next Mishnah Berurah, Chorban Beis Hamikdash should bother one about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Kashav Ashla, so the Shla wrote, Shebachol Suda Yomar Al Naros Bavel. That and every meal that you eat. Now again, we're talking about if you wash and bench. So again, before you bench, you say Al Naros Bavel, right? It's right there in the benches, in the benchers. Al Naros Bavel, talking about we're in Bavel, we're still in Bavel, right? Still in Bavel, but a little west. With Shabbos, and on Shabbos or any day you don't say Tachlon, Yomar Shir Hamalos B'Shov Hashem, right? Like we say on Shabbos, Shir Hamalos B'Shov, right? And then he says, Va'ika Shieda Makamar. The most important thing is, now again, it's not only here, but everywhere. The most important thing is you should know what you're saying. Ve'achar Kavanas Halev Hemadvarim. The main thing is the intent, is the kavana, what the kavana of the person is. So again, what are we saying? We're saying now that a person all the time, it should be bothered, except for during davening and Tovim, should bother a person that there's no Beis Hamikdash, that we're in Golos, that Hashem is in Golos, except for in Torah and Tefillah, and on Yom Tovim, Shabbos and Yom Tov. So therefore, on those days, a quote unquote regular day, we say Al Naros Bavel to remind us. I just had this wonderful meal. I'm about to bench, Givaldig, but you know what? I'm in Golos, right? And the main thing is to have kavanah, right? To realize when you say, "Oh no, it's wrong," not to say it, but I'm in Bavel, right? So very interesting that you bring that up, huh?
Right.
What?
Yeah, we don't say it.
You don't say it. It's not just Svardim. Again, it's brought down in the benchers. But somewhere, recently it seems like, it fell off for some reason. You don't see even anybody saying it. So I found that Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach writes in Hilchos Shlomo, Perktes Vav, in note 5, believe it or not, that on Sudas HaMasechta is on Tisha B'Av, right before we start the fast. So we sit on the floor. You got an egg and the ashes, and right. That's a different Sudas HaMasechta than on Erev Yom Kippur. But he used to before he benched, right? Because you eat some bread and you have the egg and with the ashes and all that stuff. So he would say Al Noras Bavel, and he would say it with feeling and everything. But they bring down, and the rest of the year he didn't say it. Mishnah Berurah says say it. He didn't say it. So it's a very interesting thing. Again, I didn't. But I don't know. Like I said, Erev Tisha B'Av, maybe I say it, but like people don't say it. I don't where that fell off. I don't know. Again, it must be very recently because it's printed in all the benchers. It's in all the benchers. So, but for some whatever reason, we don't say it.
Did you start with the bracha right away?
Yeah, let's start the wash my machronim, it's a separate, and then the bench. Yeah, so I don't know with Ashkenazim, I don't know where it fell off, but see from Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, they bring down that he didn't say it during the year. Interesting. Okay, we'll stop here for today, and we'll talk about more about davening and davening with kavana, and then other things about waking up in the morning.
Nice. Talk about it.
Yashakah.